Alright folks, buckle up, we're diving into Rumble Inc., ticker RUM. This isn't just any company, it's a video platform making serious waves. They're positioning themselves as a challenger, a voice for those who feel unheard elsewhere. Think free speech, think alternative media. This company is operating in the high-stakes digital media arena, and they're not afraid to throw a few punches at the established giants. We're talking disruption, we're talking bold moves. And yes, we're talking about a stock that's been on one heck of a roller coaster. This is big stuff, people, and you need to pay attention to these mavericks. Now let's talk about the event that sent shockwaves through the market. December 2024. Boom! Out of nowhere, Tether, the stablecoin behemoth, announced a massive $775 million investment in Rumble. Can you believe it? $775 million? That's not just a vote of confidence, that's a full-blown endorsement from a major player in the crypto world. Tether sees potential, serious potential here. This infusion of cash is like strapping a rocket to Rumble's ambitions. It signals that the smart money, or at least very big money, is taking notice and placing significant bets. This was a game changer, folks. So where is all this Tether money going? Listen closely, because this is important for understanding the strategy. A hefty $525 million is targeted for a self-tender offer. Rumble plans to buy back up to 70 million of its own shares at a price of $7.50 per share. Alternatively, they might use these funds to repurchase shares directly from some of their larger existing shareholders. What does this tell you? It screams that management, backed by Tether, believes the stock has been undervalued in the market. They're stepping in to support the price and reward shareholders. Always watch these buyback signals. They can be very telling indeed. And what about the rest of that huge pile of cash? The remaining $250 million is earmarked specifically for growth initiatives. Growth, growth, growth. That's the mantra for any company like Rumble, and this capital injection is pure rocket fuel for their plans. This isn't just about propping up the stock price, it's about aggressively expanding the business and its reach. Think new content partnerships, attracting more high-profile creators, enhancing the platform's technology, and ultimately, boosting those crucial user numbers and engagement metrics. Tether isn't even demanding board seats for this. They're betting on Rumble's vision and its ability to execute effectively. Let's rewind the tape to 2024. What an absolutely explosive year for RUM stock. The shares went parabolic, folks, soaring an incredible 189.8%. Can you even fathom those kinds of gains? That's the kind of move that creates legends and makes fortunes overnight. We saw a mind-blowing single-day surge of 81% on December 23, 2024. This, of course, came hot on the heels of that blockbuster Tether investment announcement. The market went into a frenzy. This wasn't just a minor blip on the radar, it was a seismic shift in how investors perceived Rumble's future prospects. What else was stoking this raging fire under Rumble stock in 2024? Well, there were a couple of key factors. Early in the year, Rumble inked a very strategic partnership with Barstool Sports. Now, Barstool is a content machine and they bring a massive, engaged audience. Content is absolute king in this game, and that deal was a smart move to get more eyeballs on the platform. Then, the political winds shifted, blowing very favorably for Rumble. The 2024 US presidential election, particularly Donald Trump's victory, provided a significant tailwind, as Rumble is well known for its appeal to a right-leaning audience that felt energized. But folks, as any seasoned investor knows, what goes straight up like a rocket often needs to take a breather, or sometimes even experiences a bit of a pullback. As we stand here on May 28, 2025, Rumble stock has indeed cooled off, declining by 15.8% year-to-date. The current share price is hovering around $9.38. Now, look at the 52-week range. It's a wide one, from a low of $4.92 to a high of $17.40. That tells you everything about the volatility. This stock isn't for the faint of heart. If you can't handle the wild swings, this kitchen is too hot for you. And let's not forget the historical performance, because context is crucial. RUM actually delivered a decent 11% return for investors back in 2021. However, then came the pain. A punishing 45% drop in 2022, followed by another 25% haircut in 2023. So this recent surge, while spectacular, needs to be viewed against that backdrop. Is this the dawn of a new, sustainable era for Rumble, fueled by real fundamental improvements? Or is it just another exciting but ultimately temporary peak before another valley? That's the multi-billion-dollar question, considering its current $3 billion market cap. We need to see consistency. Alright, let's roll up our sleeves and get down to the nitty-gritty. We need to X-ray Rumble's financials. There's no denying the revenue growth trajectory. It's been impressive, to say the least. Revenue catapulted from a mere $9.5 million back in 2021 to a much more substantial $86 million in the last 12 months, as of December 2024. You absolutely have to give them credit where it's due for that kind of top-line expansion. They are clearly scaling up their operations. But, and this is a very big but, folks, are they actually making any money from all this activity? That's where the picture gets a lot more complicated. Here's the challenging part of the story. Despite that impressive revenue growth, Rumble reported an operating loss of $143 million on those $86 million in sales. Ouch! That's a significant amount of red ink, and it tells you they're spending much more than they're bringing in. Their selling, general and administrative scanda expenses are particularly high, eating up a whopping 65% of their revenue. That's a massive overhead. And the gross margin, as of May 2025, it's sitting at a painful negative 48.98%. Yes, a negative gross margin. This means it currently costs them more to deliver their service than they generate from it. They must fix this, and fast. Now let's talk about how the market is valuing this company. Back in December 2024, when the stock was trading around $13 per share, Rum was priced at a sky-high 31 times its trailing revenues. Looking forward at that time, it was trading at 23 times its expected 2025 revenues, which were projected to be around $113 million. Fast forward to our current date, May 28, 2025, with the stock near $9.38, it's still valued at a considerable figure, approximately 27.4 times its expected sales for this year. This is classic growth stock valuation, plain and simple. The market is clearly betting heavily on massive future growth and eventual profitability. User engagement metrics are absolutely critical here, people. Monthly active users, or MAUs, reached a peak of 80 million towards the end of 2022. However, that number subsequently fell to 44 million in the second quarter of 2023, before recovering to 67 million by December 2024. That recovery is positive, but we need to see consistent upward momentum. And what about average revenue per user, ARPU? As of December 2024, it stood at a paltry 33 cents. That is incredibly low compared to other platforms. They desperately need to find ways to monetize their user base more effectively. Engagement and monetization continue to be significant question marks hanging over the company in 2025. So, what's an investor supposed to do with Rumble stock right now? Let me be crystal clear. This stock is not for the nervous Nellies or the faint of heart. It is inherently volatile. Just look at that incredible 80% surge in a single day back in December. That kind of move screams speculation and often suggests that the stock price might be getting way ahead of its underlying fundamental value. The company itself is widely considered a high-risk investment. Its fortunes seem to be significantly tied to the shifting political winds, trends in the cryptocurrency space, and frankly some pretty uncertain business fundamentals at this moment. Why the significant pullback in the stock price during 2025? Well, there are several macroeconomic gremlins at play here. We have persistent worries about inflation. We have the Federal Reserve being extremely cautious about cutting interest rates, possibly even keeping them higher for longer than the market would like. These conditions are brutal for growth stocks like Rumble, especially those sporting high valuations that are heavily dependent on distant future profits. Add to that the ongoing nagging concerns about the platform's ability to truly engage its users long-term, and more importantly, to effectively monetize that user base. The market is growing impatient, folks. But hold on, there's always an upside case to consider, and Rumble certainly has one. That $250 million war chest, dedicated to growth initiatives courtesy of the Tether investment, that is serious financial firepower. The explicit goal is to use that money to significantly boost Rumble's user base, and crucially, to increase that anemic average revenue per user, ARPU. If they can successfully execute on that plan, they can start to make a real dent in those operating losses. Furthermore, future political events and continued developments within the cryptocurrency landscape could provide additional short-term boosts or positive sentiment for the stock. They are actively trying. My final call on Rumble? This is a speculative play, pure and simple. It's a high-risk, potentially high-reward gamble, and you need to go in with your eyes wide open. If you truly believe in their mission to offer an alternative media platform, if you think they can capture a significant and loyal slice of that market, and if you have faith that management can skillfully turn that Tether cash infusion into real, sustainable growth and eventually profits, then maybe, just maybe, you consider taking a small speculative position. But this is strictly homework money, folks. Don't you dare bet the farm on it. Watch those MAUs, watch that ARPU, and scrutinize those expenses like a hawk. For now, I'm on the sidelines, watching this one very, very closely. Booyah!